Good morning. It is 9:44 a.m. on Saturday, May 7th, 2016. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Um, Discipline update doesn't really apply on a Saturday because I'm not pressed for time in any serious way. But, I more or less just got up. So, a couple of things. One is I finally received my Hamilton. This book is amazing. I'm only a little ways into it, but if you are a fan of the Hamilton musical, as I am, you get to read lots of stuff about how it was created, and it's the script annotated with footnotes and stuff, and lots of cool pictures. You know, pictures of the production, which is fantastic for someone like me who will probably never get to see it. Or at least not for a long time because it's so expensive and hard to get. Anyway, but the other thing that I want to talk about is that I saw Captain America: Civil War last night, and it is very good. It's one of those movies that's so dense that in some ways you have to acknowledge that it might take a little bit of time to see how it integrates itself into the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe in order to judge it, but it is among the best of the Marvel movies without question. I actually liked Age of Ultron more than a lot of people did, but this is better than that. And yeah, it's very good, and I was impressed because for all the talk of oh, Team Cap, Team Tony, or Team Iron Man, the the way the movie presents the conflict, everyone acts logically according to their own understanding of the world. Um, and occasionally, or if not logically, at least true to their character. That's what I mean. And this is a perfect example of how, when you are forming a team like that and you're with friends, you're able to put aside minor differences for the greater good. And that's what we've seen in past team up movies, is that sure, there's interpersonal conflict, but when the bad guy, when the chips are down, everybody gets together and gets the job done. And that's great to see. But sometimes what you discover is that whatever those interpersonal differences are, if that becomes the main conflict, you really just don't have any way to set it aside because that's the conversation. And it's really so, and it's interesting to think about too. And when you say, like, well, which side would you take? I feel like in the movie universe, I definitely take Cap's side, but I have to also recognize that that's because we know Cap. We know Steve Rogers. We see him. We understand how he feels about things, how he thinks about things. We understand him. We trust him. And so when he doesn't want to be reined in by governments, especially ones that have already proven themselves corrupt or whatever, we can understand why he feels like he cannot submit to that kind of an oversight. And we take his side in the movie. But I feel like in real life, if there was the equivalent of the Avengers, I don't know that I would take the side of, oh yeah, they don't need to have any kind of a formal accountability. They can just go do whatever they want whenever they want to. I'm not sure I would be on that side. Um, but when we know Captain America and when we know like what he stands for, then yeah, it's easy to take his side. And I think that's as the movie intends it. Um, but there's so much great stuff in it. I won't get into spoilers here, but just to say that the fights are amazing. New characters, Black Panther and Spider-Man. Both of those guys are awesome in this movie. They're just great. Top notch. A lot of the superhero action is great. Everybody in the movie gets something cool to do. Um, the characters all, like I said, act according to their nature. Even some of the cases where, when we saw how the teams were going to divide, there was a couple of them where we're like, really, that doesn't seem like why would they be on that side? In the movie, it makes sense how everybody ends up on the side they're on, and uh, there's some really interesting stuff going on. I have some minor nitpicks with some elements of the story just because there's a couple places where it seems like, okay, well, without getting into spoilers, it's hard to say. It's hard to understand how a certain character could pull off what they managed to pull off without having just perfect knowledge of the universe and everything in it. You know what I mean? It's like they would have to know things that it's not obvious how they would know them in order to make it work. Now, it plays fine on screen, but I feel like I'm interested in knowing what the explanation of that is. What else? What else? Yeah, yeah. The story takes some twists and turns that didn't see coming. I love all the new characters. Everybody who's back is good. Um, I like it a lot, you guys. Um, yeah, I like it a lot. All right, I will talk to you guys tomorrow for 5 more minutes.